Patience cuts deeper than aggression. The true skill isn't in winning a hand. It's in mastering the instinct that wants to win everyone. When a grinder sits down, he's not there to prove he's the best. He's there to prove he's unshakable, that he can lose and then still walk away wiser, because he knows the cards change, but the lesson always stays. And maybe that's why the best players never seem nervous. Because they've already realized what few ever do. The game was never about the cards. It was always about you. Every decision at the table is a duel between logic and fear. And what separates the greats from the rest is the ability to decide without emotion, but never without purpose. Beginners play to guess the other player's hand. Masters play to understand the human behind it. They read patterns, not people, because humans are inconsistent, but behavior never lies. A tiny twitch, a glance that lingers too long, a breath that comes half a second too late. It all tells a story. But the true mastery isn't in noticing, it's in interpreting. Not every tremor means fear, and not every calm look means strength. Every action tells a tale, and the sharpest minds read those tales in silence. They know arrogance kills more players than bad luck ever will. Ego is the leak that drains both bankroll and sanity. The best players don't play to look good. They play to become good. Poker isn't about luck. It's about mental survival. And survival means living to play again tomorrow. That's why consistency always outlasts excitement. And the strongest players, they rarely celebrate, because they know one good hand today means nothing if your mind collapses tomorrow. Great players lose differently. They lose with curiosity. They take notes. They replay every hand in their head, not as punishment, but as data. They're scientists in a laboratory of emotion, and every mistake in a new experiment. They don't let the game shape them. They shape the game itself. Poker isn't just about seeing. It's about seeing through. Not through the cards, through the person, through yourself. The amateurs stare at the table. The pros look at faces, because the body talks, even when it lies. A restless finger, a sudden stillness, a glance that flickers like static electricity. To the untrained eye, it's nothing. To the master, it's a scream. But real reading isn't about judging. It's about understanding. The best players don't mock their opponents. They respect them because they know what it feels like to crumble, to tilt, to drown in your own frustration. They've been there many times. Poker at the highest level isn't manipulation. It's empathy with precision. You learn to listen beyond words, to make silence your sharpest weapon. And when your opponent starts hearing his own thoughts, that's when you've already won. Still, the greatest realization comes not from reading others, but from reading yourself. The deeper you understand your own triggers, the less you become controlled by them. That's the moment you stop playing poker and start mastering awareness. The real battle isn't with the cards. It's with emotion. Every player knows that storm. The bad beats, the dry spells, the hands that tear you apart. But the masters, they stand in that storm and stay still. They feel the chaos without reacting. Tilt is like a thunderstorm. You don't fight it. You wait it out. You let the lightning pass. And when it does, you're the only one still standing. Emotional control doesn't come from pretending not to feel. It comes from understanding what you feel and refusing to let it dictate your next move. Poker, like life, rewards those who stay calm when the room burns. Every breath is a reset button. Every pause, an act of power. The strong fold not because they're weak, but because they see further than the moment. That's what separates discipline from desperation. Discipline is what you do when no one's watching, when there's no glory, no adrenaline, just the grind. Every morning review, every hand replayed, every study session. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. But that's where greatness lives, in boredom turned into mastery. Motivation fades. Discipline remains. That's why consistency beats talent every time. Success isn't built in moments of passion. It's forged in repetition when no one's cheering for you. The world sees results. The grinder sees patterns. The world celebrates wins. The grinder dissects losses. Because the truth is simple. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your preparation. The best players aren't obsessed with perfection. They're obsessed with improvement. They know that the smallest edge, the tiniest adjustment, can change everything. Intuition is not magic. It's memory, refined by time, polished by mistakes, and sharpened by awareness. That sudden gut feeling before you act. That's not luck. That's 1,000 hours whispering through your subconscious. The great ones trust it, because intuition is just logic moving faster than words. Every professional reaches that invisible point where numbers and instincts become one. They calculate like machines, but they feel like artists. At that level, the game transforms. It stops being math and becomes music. Every bet a note, every pause a breath, every fold a verse of discipline. The amateurs play the hand. The masters play the moment. And the most dangerous players in the world aren't the ones who play the most hands. They're the ones who wait for the right feeling and strike when the silence is deepest. It's a paradox, really. The less you try to control, the more control you gain. There are two types of warriors in poker: those who follow the book and those who rewrite it. GTO is the science of balance, a game theory perfection no one can exploit. But exploitative play, that's the art of imperfection, of seeing the cracks in human nature and pressing right where it hurts. Every opponent has a signature, a tell, a rhythm, a fear they don't even know they have. The great ones don't look for patterns, they become them. To exploit is to see weakness, but also to understand when to show mercy. Because mastery isn't about domination, it's about awareness. And sometimes, the smartest move you can make is the one you don't. True power is restraint disguised as patience. Exploitation used too often becomes a leak. Used with timing, it becomes divine. That's when the game stops being a competition and becomes a conversation between souls. Real strength isn't being untouchable. It's knowing exactly when to touch and when to let go. Every loss, every misstep, every hand that went wrong, they're all data. The fragile crumble under it. The anti-fragile feed on it. Pain becomes signal. Variance becomes teacher. And the chaos that breaks most players becomes fuel for evolution. That's anti-fragility. You don't resist the pressure, you grow through it. The steel is strengthened by fire, and so is the mind. Losses stop being setbacks and start being experiments. The goal isn't to avoid pain, it's to use it as sharpening stone. Tilt, it's just an invitation to learn faster. The masters don't get angry at variance. They dance with it. Because in the long run, the cards always balance, and patience always profits. When you understand that, the game stops being stressful and starts becoming spiritual. Then, there's the zone, that sacred, silent space where everything just clicks. The crowd fades, the lights soften, and suddenly, time stops. No thought, no fear, just flow. That's when poker becomes art. Decisions don't come from the mind anymore. They come from somewhere deeper, a place between focus and surrender. You don't chase the zone. You allow it. You enter it when you let go of needing to win and simply play to play well. In that place, every move feels right. Every call feels effortless. The cards don't surprise you anymore. You already knew. The game becomes prayer, each breath a ritual, each hand a meditation on presence. And when you leave the table, you realize you weren't just playing poker, you were exploring yourself. In the end, the game was never about the cards, or the chips, or the money. It was about the mind behind them. Poker doesn't just reveal skill, it reveals character, your patience, your fear, your ego, your faith in the process. You can't fake who you are under pressure. The table will always show it. The greatest players aren't remembered for their stacks. They're remembered for their calm when the storm hit, for their discipline when everyone tilted, for their silence when the world got loud. You can't control the cards you're dealt, but you can control how you play them. That's the real game. That's the truth only the few ever see. So if you're still here, if something inside you is burning to grow, then this is your place. Welcome to Mind of a Grinder, where we don't chase luck, we build it. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this with someone who plays with passion, but is ready to master the mind behind the game. Because the cards may fade, but the mind, that's what lasts forever.